Hi there. The world is going mad, and women are still writing stupid shit. Don't believe me? Check out this article. Upward thrusting buildings ejaculating into the sky. Do cities have to be so sexist? Toxic masculinity is built into the fabric of our urban spaces, writes Leslie Kern, author of the new book Feminist City, and the results aren't just divisive, they can be lethal. Okay. I will not be reading this article in its entirety. I'm just going to go through and pick out some of the key points that I would like to cover. The article doesn't just talk about buildings. In fact, it goes into more detail about women's unpaid labor, gender roles, the coronavirus affecting women more, even though more men died, and Black Lives Matter, and a bunch of other nonsense that really has nothing to do with buildings. So if you want to go read the article, you can. I'm just going to pretty much stick to the building part of it because this woman has lost her fucking mind. Let's begin, shall we? Glass ceilings and phallic towers, mean streets and dark alleys, road names and statues of men. I'm going to repeat that part, road names and statues of men, because that part's going to be important in a minute. From the physical to the metaphorical, the city is filled with reminders of masculine power. I wonder why that is. Okay? I wonder why that is. I mean, it couldn't be that it's because masculinity creates because men are awesome. Now, could it? No. Couldn't be that men not only build civilization, but they build the cities that reside within those civilizations, right? No. Of course, that's the reason why we are reminded of masculine power. And you should be reminded of the power of masculinity, ladies, because I bet if you were out there building your own civilizations and cities, without men, you're not going to get very far. Let's continue. And yet we rarely talk of the urban landscape as an active participant in gender inequality. A building, no matter how phallic, isn't actually misogynistic, is it? Surely a skyscraper isn't responsible for sexual harassment, the wage gap, even the glass ceiling, whether it has a literal one up top or not. Okay, well, she just asked a couple stupid questions, so I'm going to give her some very honest answers. Can a building, no matter how phallic, actually be misogynistic? No, you stupid bitch. And do you know why? Because it's a fucking building. It's not going to think misogynistic thoughts. It's not going to do anything misogynistic because it doesn't think nor do things other than sit there. That's it. Now, what about your sexual harassment, wage gap, and a glass ceiling that skyscraper is committing? Well, could sexual harassment take place in a skyscraper? Sure. I'm sure you could be at work with some guy that you don't find attractive, and now he's hitting on you, and you want to call it sexual harassment. What about that bullshit wage gap, though? You know, the one that's being debunked repeatedly? Yeah, the skyscraper's not responsible for that. Oh, no. It's not. Just like it's not responsible for that bullshit glass ceiling that women like to blame when they make decisions, life decisions, that do not cause them to be the CEOs of big companies. Yeah, like the wage gap that doesn't exist, there are different reasons, different decisions that women make that don't put them in positions of power. I like how women always blame that glass fucking ceiling, though. Did you know that a lot of women that break through the glass ceiling, you know, the ones that inevitably fail, also blame the glass cliff that they fall off of when they do fail? That is a thing. A lot of people haven't heard of the glass cliff, but it is a thing that women blame for their failures because, as the saying goes, accountability is like kryptonite for women. Let's continue. As far back as 1977, an American poet and professor of architecture named Dolores Hayden wrote an article with the explosive headline, Skyscraper Seduction, Skyscraper Rape. Hayden tore into the male power fantasies embodied in this celebrated urban form. The official tower, she wrote, is one more addition to the procession of phallic monuments in history, including poles, obelisks, spires, columns, and watchtowers, where architects unironically use the language of base, shaft, and tip while drawing upward thrusting buildings, ejaculating light into the sky. Could you guys fucking imagine if women actually did go on to build their own civilization, what it would look like? You know, they sit here and they make fun of men and say they ironically refer to things as base, shaft, and tip. But if a group of women built a civilization, they would have boob-shaped coliseums. They would have flower petal buildings everywhere. They would have these big petaled buildings as a representation of their vaginas. And above and beyond all that, they'd paint the entire fucking town red. Literally. With their blood. Because women are disgusting like that. Yet they want to shame the men because a man built an obelisk or a spire or a column. What the fuck are you building, ladies? Go start your own civilization. It'd be a feat if you don't paint the fucking thing red. If sexism of the city began and ended with architectural symbolism, I would have happily written a grad school essay about this, then turned my attention to more pressing matters. She kind of does, though, because, like I said, the majority of this article doesn't really talk so much about the urban landscape. It talks more about, again, gender roles and coronavirus and Black Lives Matter and other things. But let's continue. But society's historical and ongoing ideas about what proper gender roles for men and women, it starts here with that, organized along a narrow binary, are built right into our cities. And they still matter. Damn it, they matter. They matter to me as a mother, she says. They matter to me as a busy professor who often finds herself in his strange cities, wondering if it's okay to pop into the neighborhood pub alone. Why wouldn't it be? Ask any woman who's tried to bring a pram onto a bus, breastfeed in a park, or go for a jog at night. She intuitively understands the message the city sends to her. This place is not for you. So you hear that, ladies? Cities are not for you. I suggest you come out and live with me in the country for a little while. Live in the country, live in the woods, where you have to worry about things like bears and stepping on rattlesnakes when you're trying to weed eat your yard. Big bugs. I've done videos. We got some big, pretty scary and bitey bugs here. And if you fail, there is no glass ceiling to blame, and you can't blame the tree canopy either. Now, you see, you got to work hard, and then you appreciate what you do because you worked hard, and if you fail, you realize real quick you have no one to blame but yourself. So if the city is not for you, gals, come out to the woods. You'll have a grand, wonderful time. Maybe you'll learn something, so when you go on to build this fucking utopia, that women would build, you get a little bit of a head start. I skipped the majority of the article, okay? Again, for reasons that I've already explained. So now we're towards the very last 3 paragraphs of this article. And I would just want to read this part, and then we'll go on to her plan. City planners, architects, and politicians can make a difference if the will is there. In Aspern district of Vienna, all of the streets and public spaces are named after women. That proves right there, ladies and gentlemen, that this was never about equality. Because if you remember when I said you need to pay attention to that first paragraph that I read, roads and statues. There's a big problem. You see, it's sexist if cities have roads named after men and statues erected of men. But fuck, Aspern in the district of Vienna is a great place. We should look to them for inspiration because all of their streets and public spaces are named after women. In Tokyo, the trains have carriages set aside at particular times for women, disabled people, children, and carers. Okay. I agree. Segregate them. Fucking segregate them. Let the women have those spaces. But I also want those women to be responsible for maintaining those spaces. I want the women to maintain the bathrooms in those spaces. And I'm not talking about the people of color that this woman keeps talking about, how pitiful and sad their lives are. No, I want these fucking white women who write stupid articles like this to maintain those spaces, clean those fucking toilets. They won't. They just want to fucking talk, but they aren't going to put their money where their mouth is. In Kigali, the capital of Rwanda, female street vendors have seen their safety and economic prospects improve with the building of secure, permanent mini markets that include space for breastfeeding. I'm really curious who built those spaces. I bet it was men. I bet if I looked it up, it would say men built those spaces. In Stockholm, snow plowing schedules prioritize residential streets, school zones, public transport, and bike lanes. Yeah. I wonder who's plowing those areas. Who's using the snowplows? Because I don't know if any of you remember this, but there was a day when they allowed the women to plow the roads. I can't remember exactly where it was. It was in Switzerland or Sweden or somewhere. And not only did the women take up the snow, they took up the fucking roads with the snowplows. Yeah, they destroyed them. And the men had to go back and not only fix the mess, but they had to literally fix the fucking roads that the women tore up with the snowplows. So, again, the men handling the mistakes. These interventions say to women, your contribution matters, your safety matters, your mobility matters. Contribution matters. You're not contributing much, ladies. You're contributing by bitching that men need to be responsible to make things better for you, all the while calling the things that they build to make things better for you fucking sexist. Okay? This is ridiculous. Now, she has a little plan. All right? She's got a little 4-part plan here, and we're just going to go through it. The current situation offers an unprecedented opportunity for even bigger changes. One possibility comes via the anti-racist protests sweeping the globe. Here we go. Here we go. Defund the police. Transfer that money to affordable housing, childcare, and public transport, all of which would dramatically improve women's lives in ways that increased policing never has. Who's going to build that affordable housing, the affordable buildings where the childcare takes place, and that public transport, woman? Who's going to build it? Not only that, defund the police. Defund them. And you're on your own. You're going to be on your own. And those social workers that you were talking about, how hard it is for them because they're having to deal with all this stuff during this pandemic, they're not going to be responsible for saving your ass when other people commit crimes. Men and women that are committing crimes. You're going to call a woman, a social worker, who's underpaid and underprivileged, according to you, to now come fucking put her life on the line to save your ass. Okay. A second move, all these people suddenly deemed essential workers should be paid as if their lives, if our lives depend on them, because they do. Let's talk about essential workers for a minute, because no one has seemed to fucking figure this one out. And we're not talking about nurses and stuff like that, because they get paid pretty damn well. So let's talk about who else I'm assuming this woman's talking about. And these are the people that work in like retail at the grocery store or at the fucking Walmart or the Target or the other places that these people couldn't stay away from, you know, because women love to consume, or Amazon or all these places. We need to pay these people a living wage, right? Do you dumb women realize that if that happens because you virtue signal for it, the shit that you like to buy, the prices of that shit's going to go up? No, you don't think about that. Because if you did, you wouldn't be talking about this, because we know that women don't like to spend a lot of money on stuff, yet they want to buy everything. I agree. Let's pay these people. Let's pay them more. Because it doesn't affect me whether or not my prices go up. I don't buy shit I don't need. But you guys do, and you're going to be the first ones bitching how expensive things are now. Because I was too busy virtue signaling about the essential workers than actually rubbing my two brain cells together to think of the repercussions of my virtue signaling. Third, reinvest in the public realm by creating accessible, barrier-free spaces and transport systems that would allow everyone full access to the benefits of city living. Again, who's going to build those things? Ladies, if there's things are being built, guess what? They're still going to look sexist because they're built by men. So again, you are more than welcome to go off and create your own civilizations. Let us know in a few thousand years how that's working out when you get your first bridge up that doesn't collapse. Her fourth and by no means final suggestion is to seek out, listen to, and employ diverse groups of city dwellers in all areas of urban design, planning, policymaking, politics, and architecture. The pandemic, which she covers in detail in this article, and its effect on women, has shown us that society can be radically reorganized if necessary. Let's carry that lesson into creating non-sexist city. And there you have it, folks. That's how you create a non-sexist city, by having men build it, because the women aren't going to. And let's have the women bitch by calling it sexist. I don't even know what to say about this. Well, obviously I do know what to say about this, because I've already said a lot. I've actually talked a lot on this. So I'm just going to end by saying this. I'm going to end by saying two things. First off, I'm going to start by saying you hire people to build things based on diversity quotas, and like that bridge, your little society will fucking collapse. You have to have the best people for the job. And let's be honest, when it comes to building anything, the best people for the job are men. Look around and celebrate what they create instead of trying to shit on them all the time. Secondly, and what I will be ending with, is I've been seeing this comment here float around, and I can't give credit to the first person who said it because I don't know who said it, but I thought it was funny, and it kind of pertains to this article. So for you ladies out there who think you're going to go off and build a brave new world, keep this in mind. Men build walls, women run into them. And that's that.